one of the priorities that we have to look at is that, what are you choosing for? Are you choosing for what you think looks good for now? Or are you going to be like a wise planner that chooses for the future? You know, like, for instance, guys, is this woman that you're trying to date right now, is she potentially, can you trust her to be the woman of the mother of your children? Does she have the ability to raise children? Does she have the ability to support you in a very, very difficult day? See, the thing is that we know how to show other people how we're so great. But actually, you get to see someone, and this is a piece of advice that I was given when I was dating earlier in life. And this person told me, if you really want to find out what someone's all about, wait till you see them angry. If you never see the other person angry, maybe there's an issue, because everyone gets angry. And so the thing is that sometimes when we're dating, we think we know exactly what we're getting into. And we don't. We're actually just beginning to read the introduction to the book. We're not even at chapter 1 yet. Does that make sense? So really, we need to be wise. We don't need to be cynical and clinical and robotic, but at the same time, we need to be eyes wide open, where we're looking and saying, could this man lead my home? Does this man have a responsible work ethic where he can be a provider? If hard times ever came, that he'd do something about it? Or would he sit around and feel sorry for himself? Is this man a man that I could trust? True? Trust has to be the number one thing that's in the foundation of every relationship. If you don't have trust, you don't have a relationship. True story? Yeah. So these are just good questions that we need to ask ourselves, so that when we're looking at this person across the candlelit table at the local Italian restaurant and the lasagna's just been delivered and he's twinkling at you with his eyes and you're batting at him with your eyelashes, you need to stop and not be sucked into just the total, you know, the black hole of the romance, the vortex of that moment, and you actually enjoy the moment, but don't be so stupid that you think that that's what it's all about. There needs to be more to it than that. We've been sucked into a Disneyland mentality where everything has to be happily ever after because, you know, she's one of the Disneyland princesses and he's one of the hunks. Doesn't work like that. It's so much more than that. There's got to be substance. If you're going to build a house, you don't build it with a bag of sand. You need concrete, you need timber, you need roofing, you need windows, you need solid things that you can count on are going to do their job in the different aspects of a house. True? So in the same way, you should pay more attention to building a marriage, because houses come and go. But if you're going to do a marriage and you're going to walk before God, it has to be forever. And sometimes we find that hard because we've come from broken homes. I came from a broken home. Okay, I understand. If you've been in a broken home, if you've had a parent that's morally failed, I can identify with you. But you can't allow that to be your mindset, because if you've come from that, you have that subliminally in the background. Take my word for it. You have it subliminally in the background. Now, I've walked through a process where it's not in my background. Okay, and if that's been the case for you, you actually have to walk through a process where it's like, actually, you know what? This thing has to be, I have to break the curse of that divorce. I have to break the curse of that adultery. I have to actually do something with God so that when I step into this, I haven't got one finger on the trigger that if she does something or says something or looks at me in a certain way or we have a certain argument, I'm quitting. Okay? You have to plan to the deathbed. Yeah. That's how I am. I'm done. No other woman can bat her eyelids at me. I've just got eyes for this lady. And that's not me trying to sound like a hero. That's me saying I'm in this for the long haul. And you have to be the same. No matter what you've gone through, no matter what you've seen, no matter what you've experienced, no matter what parent has given you a bad example, you have to have a process with Jesus that when you step up and you're at the Italian restaurant and the lasagna's just been delivered and everything's perfect, the candlelight's flickering in his eyes, you're looking and saying, is this a man I can be with for the rest of my life? Do you get what I'm saying? So we don't want to make it over serious, but at the same time we don't want to make it over playful either, where we're aloof to the reality of actually this is not a game. This is forever. Does this make sense? So we need to actually come to this with understanding, I'm not just choosing this because this feels so good and I'm just going to have a great summer with this girl, or I'm going to have a great summer with this guy, and this romantic feeling is so amazing. What about the realities of when you got bills on the table and you can't pay them? What now? What are you going to do, girlfriend, when he can't afford to take you out on a date? And he's working 3 jobs to hold things together if that happens. Because that's what a responsible man will do. Okay? But what are you going to do? What are you going to do if you don't feel the romance anymore? Because love isn't a feeling. Love is a decision that you make. And it's one that you actually stand before God like almost no other event in life, except for the day you gave your life to Jesus. And you cut a covenant before the throne of heaven saying, this person I will walk with in the earth, and I will love for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, till the day I die. You get what I'm saying? This is a long-term thing. So we need to choose wisely.
Basically, when you're encountering like dysfunctional things going on in behavior and relationships, when you're engaged in a relationship, you just need to understand men and women think very differently. Like, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. I used to think that was crazy, but then actually it's the concept is true in some ways, because God designed us to complement each other, not two of the same thing. Mm-hmm. So, when you're encountering troubles or just dysfunctions that are coming out, you just need to go back to literally the way you are physically made. You are made completely differently. Men see things logically, women see emotionally. emotionally. That doesn't mean that women can't see logically or men can't see emotionally, but your dominant, fallback is going to be, if you're a woman, it's going to be an emotional way that you're seeing things, and men, it's going to be logical. Okay, so some stuff we like to blow up and think it's all this, it's a spirit of Jezebel, or it's the spirit of snake coming at me, whatever. And these 25 demons, legions after, it's like, okay, whoa. It's like, it might just be that she's just an emotional female right now, and it's not a weakness, it's her strength. That's right. It might just be that. It's like, that's right. It might just be that she sees things completely differently sometimes. It's not Beelzebub, okay? It's like, can I just say that? Because in relationships, especially if you're like, oh, Jesus, Holy Ghost, yes, and then like the friction happens and you're like, oh, this devil came in. And it's like, whoa, just hang on a minute.
Don't ever spiritualize it.
It's like trying to divide us. It's like, whoa. You're just two different people, okay? You're just one man and one woman trying to make their way through the universe, okay? So it's like, just remember that, okay? Don't be so spiritual that you can't understand that you're two completely different people, designed differently on purpose. Because you're supposed to, again, complement each other and help one another. So together your vision sees perfectly. Yeah. So it's like one is not better than the other. Oh, it's better to be logical because emotions just go like this, and that's a weakness. It's like, well, hang on a minute. That's my strength. Actually, and you are too logical sometimes that you can't feel the heart of a person.
Come on.
Do you hear what I'm saying?
Come on.
Or you are so emotional that you can't think logically, and everything's like a woo, and no one has any idea where you are or what's going on. Just like ground yourself. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Oh, I love you, honey.
Okay. But I just wanted to say that because sometimes the dysfunction and the friction is just that. It's just you're two different people and you need to see eye to eye, and sometimes you never will, but to the best of your ability, you need to understand that you're just made differently, and that's okay. And we're going to celebrate how each other are made, but there'll be times where you do need to bend to logic, or you do need to bend to something that's a little bit more emotional in order to see things clearly. Does that help?
Yeah, it's really good. And I'm just going to add a little bit to that. There's differences in outlooks, like between male and female. There's also differences in outlooks and mindsets between the way we've been raised. We touched on a little earlier. There's a whole facet there that you need to look at. Then there's another whole dynamic again if you come from different cultures. If you were born in different countries, if you're raised in different countries, even different states, I'd say to some extent. Like, for instance, if you were born in the cornfields of Ohio and you marry someone from Southern California, there's probably going to be some slightly different belief systems and mindsets. Yeah. And so you need to understand that. Now, here's the thing. If you really truly believe that God's brought you together, you need to be patient and loving and understanding and work these things out so that you can find the best thing for the relationship. Right. And not just, well, this is the way I find security. No, that's not the healthy mindset at all. You get what I'm saying? So we're going to enter into this seeking to understand and work with, being patient, loving, and kind and long-suffering, not coming in expecting everything to be perfect. Okay? Guys, you need to be patient and understanding. Girls, don't have the picture perfect white picket fence thing. Just go in saying, well, this is God. I have got some preconceived ideas. I may need to put those things aside so I can discover the beauty in the story that God's put in front of us. Does that make sense? Otherwise, what happens is preconceived and predefined expectations can be some of the most destructive things in a relationship also. Where you put pressure on, this is the way you're supposed to be. Or, you know, hey, mister, you're supposed to be this, and this, and you're supposed to be big, strong, and protect me. And like, hey, you're supposed to be the perfect housewife, and I want you to cook and clean, and I want a perfect meal at 7 o'clock when I get home every night. Well, what if it doesn't work out like that? You get what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like you just need to lower your expectations and actually have, you know, okay, this is what God's given me. This is the very best from God. Yes. So I'm going to enjoy this, and I'm going to have a blast. And I'm not going to let any kind of brochure that I had along the way tell me otherwise. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay, awesome. So next one is misunderstandings. Misunderstandings are going to happen. Might be misunderstandings where you don't understand each other, like Bex was just starting to talk about. It might be misunderstandings where you guys actually misinterpreting each other. It might be misunderstandings where there's been times where Bex and I are both talking and she's like, you don't understand me. And I'm like, you don't understand me. And then there's this whole thing. And that's where you actually need to actually pay attention and be smart and stop. And instead of getting frustrated and walking into a massive dysfunctional blowout, you just stop and say, can you just maybe say that in a different way so I can understand it? Because I'm having trouble understanding what you're saying right now. This stuff's gonna happen, and you need to be grown up about it. Yeah. Okay, you can't like take on like a grudge or ticked off because you feel like you're, you know, being hurt or they're trying to explain themselves. Here's another great tip. Don't ever accuse someone and make them defend themselves. Ask questions. Don't ever make statements that are absolutes because you might not understand why they've done what they've done or why they said what they said. They might have a completely different outlook. They might not understand where you've come from. They might not understand your culture. They might not understand your background. They might not understand the way that your family did it. They might not understand the way you're thinking or what you need because you haven't got that far yet. Okay? Ask a question. Hey, like, I'm just trying to understand why you said that. I'm just not quite sure I understand that. Could you explain that for me so I understand what you... And see, what you've just done is you've just disarmed a massive misunderstanding from happening. Instead of getting ticked off or giving them the silent treatment or going away hurting and not talking about it or blowing it up by just throwing a grenade right back into their backyard. Let's go there. Come on. You get what I'm saying? So a simple question can diffuse a monster lot of pain. We have a desire to want to be right, guys and girls. We have a desire to want to be proven right and justified and vindicated and all this stuff. Please understand that you need to pick your battles on certain things. And if you make your relationship a battleground, you're not going to have a romance. You can't have both. You know, you need to go join a debate club or something like that where you can go and like argue till the sun comes down. So you can get your little quota of arguments in, and then you need to go home and be loving, okay? Because here's the thing. You can win an argument and lose the war. You can prove you're right. The other person might shut down, and you've actually hurt them, and you've just bullied them into submission with how right you are. And actually, it's very hurtful. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, you need to understand there's different people groups, there's different people types, different personality types. I'd strongly suggest you guys get the book, The 5 Love Languages, the different loves that people receive in. You need to learn on how, you need to make sure you don't trample those areas that people love to receive.